Uganda is located at the northern end of the Albertine Rift in East Africa, an area of extremely high biodiversity of global significance. A little smaller than the state of Oregon, Uganda has a rich mosaic of tropical and montane forests, woodlands, savannas, swamps, and freshwater lakes. Much of the country's biodiversity is found in its protected areas and especially in its forests.
The forest resources of Uganda, basically the protected forests, fall in two management categories. We have forests which are managed by the Wildlife Authority of the country, and then we have forests which is managed under the National Forest Authority. Now these forests, majority of them are managed for biodiversity conservation. These are very important habitats. In Uganda, we have seriously endangered species of primates, which are basically forest dwellers. We have the mountain gorilla, which dwells in the forest in the southwestern part of this country. We have the chimpanzees, which dwell in many forests under Wildlife Authority and even under National Forest Authority. We have over 1,200 species of birds, and out of these species, I know majority of them are what they call forest specialists.
Uganda was once heavily forested, but as its population has grown, most of these forests have now been converted to agriculture. In the last 25 years, Uganda has lost about 80% of its forests and woodlands outside protected areas. And the country's protected areas have lost up to 40% of their forest cover because of forest governance and forest financing challenges.
Some of the critical challenges we are facing in the management of the forest resources in the country include the increasing human population. About over 80% of the people in the country rely on wood fuel for their energy needs. And this is also putting a lot of pressure, especially on charcoal production. We still have that pressure of people opening up new land for agriculture.
The United States Forest Service's international programs, with funding from the United States Agency for International Development, is supporting Uganda's National Forestry Authority to address some of these key threats, undermining its ability to manage the 3 million acres of central forest reserves that it is responsible for. The United States Forest Service is also supporting the National Forestry Authority with its collaborative forest management initiative.
Today, as we talk, there has been a lot of pressure exerted on the forest, and the most affected part of this reserve is mostly the periphery. That's how the reserve boundary has been affected. Originally, these reserves were surveyed, planted smaller markstones, survey markstones. But in many cases, because of this pressure, people enter into the forest reserve, cause all the damages, but always give one claim that the forest boundaries are not clear, the boundary marks are not visible. So in view of solving this problem, we came out with a position that let's install visible pillar along the boundaries. We have done approximately 10% of the boundary, that's about 1,400 kilometers. But however, when we compare with the bigger boundary extent, we are still left with a very large boundary kilometer to be opened and installed with the pillars.
There are 7,000 miles of forest boundaries to resurvey and mark across 500 forest reserves, often in remote areas. The Forest Service International Programs is also supporting the National Forestry Authority with its collaborative forest management initiative.
One thing which really we also want to target is the involvement of the neighboring communities. We really want them to participate in the management and governance of this forest reserve through our established collaborative forest management arrangements.
Collaborative forest management creates a sense of ownership on the side of the community because it is geared at communities accessing these resources and knowing that these resources are theirs. So National Forest Authority works together to improve the livelihoods of the people, but also improve the forest estate by managing, protecting, and also benefiting from this forest through an arrangement which is CFM.
As a community, we signed a collaborative forest management with the National Forest Authority to co-manage the forests. Then through the agreement, we access the resources in the forest. And as a community, we get some benefits, such as training in different enterprises, such as beekeeping, handcraft, nursery bed management, and others. Then our National Forest Authority is also cooperative with the community to monitor the forest, to report illegalities, and to see that the forest is well managed.
The collaborative forest management model is a very successful one. I would wish that this one can be scaled out in other parts of the country so that all the communities adjacent to the natural forest can pick it up and use it. One, it is good for conservation, and two, it is good for livelihood improvement in Uganda and outside.
International Programs is also supporting the authority to develop a new strategic plan so that it can better respond to the challenges in managing the country's forest estate. It is also helping the NFA to relaunch its ecotourism services, important for supporting forest conservation. And lastly, the Forest Service is supporting NFA to develop a new forest management information system for improving how the forest estate is managed on a day-to-day basis.